What is going up, guys? This is the Flamespot, and we are back with another paper game video, and this is actually episode 20 of my paper game series, so this is definitely going to be a good one. Alright, well, what is this paper game? Well, it's called The Grand Joust, and as you might think of what that implies with, as you can see this little tournament setting, we have some jousting that we're going to do. Alright, so basically, there's not going to be too much of a tutorial in this game. It's going to be just going over how it's played. I have a couple of printouts that you can put online, including the map. I have a shop and tournament system, and then also some characters that you can do. And basically, this is just going to be how to set up your character sheets and basically how to play. Alright, so let's start with our character sheet. Now, I have multiple characters, including Mounted Bandit, some other person that's probably not important right now. We have a Bridge Wolf, our famous Sir Wick, totally not related to John Wick or anything like that, except for he has a dog, and a car in medieval society, and yeah, okay, maybe some resemblance. And then Sir Gerald, and you probably might not have noticed it off the bat, but all of these guys have different stats, different items, different armors. So these are just like some examples of characters. Now let's create our own. So you can see this is our main character. So this is the character sheet that will be on my website, which is linked in the description, and perhaps I might even get onto Paper Computer Games website at some point. So there are going to be two separate formats. There's this one and this one. This one is for the characters. This one is for your opponents that you're going to be going against. Most of them are they're very similar, but they're different and different. So I'm going to take the enemy one and just create my own character right now. Name. So let's see. Let's just go with. I don't really want to go with Flamespot off of the bat, so let's just go with Sir Flame Day Spot. There you go, make it look more medieval-ish, I guess you can say. Your starting gold is going to be 5, so you can get yourself this off the bat. The reason why none of this is filled in is because you guys are going to have to change it throughout the game. Here is a place where you can do a picture, so I'm just gonna, you know what, I'm just gonna draw my emblem more or less. So flame spot, fire, whatever, there we go. That's me, that's my picture. Health, so you're gonna start, these are different upgrades, and I'll go into that later, but basically when you start off you're going to have 15 health, and I'll get back with these two after I go into this area. So, lances. So we're going to start with 3 lances. Our armor is going to be, well, I guess you can put a ×3 here. Our armor is going to be studded leather. And it is good to write in pencil with this one, just because you're going to be erasing all these. This is like your inventory. Your shield, you're not going to have a shield up first, and then your horse is going to be a sumpter horse. So you can just write in sumpter. The studded leather durability is going to be 5 out of 5. And now, since we have this out, we can fill in the rest of our stats. So our defense, we actually have a shop page, and it has all the stats of everything, so shops and tournaments. I'll get into each of these qualities later, but you can see that the lowest armor you can get is studded leather. It has a defense of 2, durability of 5, price 5, whatever. So we have all these items in our shop. And then if you go down to our sumpter horse, it has a mobility of 1 and costs 10 gold, which technically it doesn't really have to cost anything, since you get it for free whenever you start off. So the sumpter horse gives you a mobility of 1. The armor gives you, studded leather armor gives you 2 defense. Alright. And basically this is all you need to start. You have no duel wins, no tournament wins, and no multiplayer wins. Of course no total then as well. In your bag, it's going to be empty. You haven't went to the shop. However, technically, you can go to the shop. You have 5 gold, so I mean, what I can buy is another set of studded leather armor, a wooden shield, and a lance set. So I'll get back to the shop later after I explain how some battles work. Alright, so starting out, we are going to have my character against probably the easiest character of the 6 or so characters that I made. So it's going to be the mounted bandit, and so basically it's just like a bandit that has a horse. So his stats are going to be very similar to ours, except he has 1 extra defense. Now, you can see that he has 1 of these filled in, and this is like our stat bar, so he has studded leather armor as well. However, with that extra filled in, now he has 3 defense compared to my 2. So all of these things are like your little level ups. So how you increase your stat points, you have to win against an opponent 3 times, let's just say for right now. And after 3 victories, then you can put a stat point into health, defense, or mobility. Now, if you put 1 into health, then that grants you 3 extra health. So not 1, but 3. If you put 1 into defense, you get 1 extra defense. If you put it into mobility, you get 1 extra mobility. And all of these things affect how combat works. So, let's get into combat then. Alright, so first we're going to see the mounted bandit. He has a little description here. It says, he needs to have a talk with your personal belongings. That's a reference to Mountain Blade, so the new one came out, if you guys got it. That's pretty cool. I've been playing it a lot myself. So, let's start into combat. Now whenever you enter into combat, you see that I already have 3 lances. However, you automatically get 3 more. So technically, I have 6 lances right now. You can keep changing it on here. So I'm going to keep updating everything. Just to make everything easier. Your opponent, they have unlimited lances. Now, what's the importance of lances? So, every single time you guys run it or joust at each other, you're technically on a horse and you're coming at each other. Whenever the way how you score a point in actual jousting is if you crack your lance on your opponent, like anywhere on them. So if your lance breaks in half, then you get a point technically. Well, this type of combat is very similar to this one. It's very similar to actual jousting. So it's going to start off with a speed combat roll. So your speed basically compares your mobilities within your character and your opponent. So I'm just going to use 2 dice right now. I'm going to have like the colorful dice as my character and as the regular dice for my opponent. And basically I'm just going to roll for speed, more or less. So it's kind of like D&D for like roll for initiatives, more or less. So whoever has the higher one gets to go. So I rolled a 3. And adding to your roll, you get to add whatever number your mobility is, so 1. So my speed would be 4, or my mobility would be 4. And the mounted bandit, he has a mobility of 1, he rolled a 1, it would be 2. Since mine is higher, then I get to attack. So whoever has the higher mobility, then gets to attack. And attacking is the exact same, where you're going to roll again. And in this case, we are going to do the equivocal amount of damage of what I rolled plus my mobility from before, because you have momentum with your lance, and then you're going to subtract that by your enemy's defense. So I had 4 mobility in my mobility roll. I gained 2, so that means 4 plus 2 is 6 damage. However, his defense takes away 3. So I did 3 damage to this mounted bandit. So he's going to have 12 health. Also, since I technically shattered a lance, now I only have 5 lances, and I got a hit on him. So, in this case, we can add in how many shattered lances we have later, because that's also going to be important later. So we're just going to put 1 right here for shattered lances. On this side, you can do 1 on here. But as you can see, there's something that says right here, kilts. Now, a tilt is a round whenever you actually run each other. So technically, I just completed the first tilt whenever my character did damage to him. So now technically there's 9 tilts left in this match. How to win is by either knocking your opponent out by having their health go to 0, or by the end of all the tilts, then by the end of all the tilts, whoever has the most Shattered Lances wins. Now, this might just seem like, oh, okay, well then I can either just try to attack him for as much as I can, or you can try to get as many lances, or hits on him. But as you can remember, I only started off with 6 lances. Remember, each round, or each Joust setting in general, you get 3 free lances. The rest you have to bring. If your lances go to 0, then you automatically forfeit the match and you lose. Now, that might seem unfair. However, if you have 1 lance left, you can choose to, let's say, forfeit attacking, more or less. So you can keep your 1 lance so you don't lose. However, that means that your opponent is going to always hit you. So let's say that there are still 6 tilts left, you're out of lances, and you can't hit them because you want to save your 1 since you can't lose, and you think that you already have 4 hits on him. Well, since there's 6 rounds left, then he will, you guys are still going to roll to see who has like higher speed, and if your opponent gets more hits on you, even if they don't kill you or knock you out, but if they get more broken lances on you because you still can't attack, then they will win. So let's say if you rolled a 6 and they rolled a 3 in this scenario, and you chose not to attack them, then no damage gets done, it's just the next tilt. And then you roll a 2 and they roll a 6, and they attack you, then they get 1 Shattered Lance and they do as much damage as they do. So there's 2 different ways of winning this, and there's multiple ways of losing. Alright, so let's just finish out this battle, more or less. It might be hard, so 5 plus 1, so they do damage to me. 2 damage plus 5 plus, that was a 5, right? Yeah. 5 plus 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8, minus 2, so they do 6 damage to me, so that's actually a big hit right there. 9. And let's roll again. 5, so I have 6 plus 6, so that's 12 damage, minus 3 is 9, so I do 9 damage to him. So he only has 3 health left. This is very close. 3 and 3. Alright, so we have a point wherever it is even. If it's even, you're just going to reroll. There's going to be no tiebreaker, it's just a reroll. So 5. And 5 plus 1 is 6. So basically, no matter what I do, I'm going to kill him. So 1, 7, minus 3 is 4. I do 4 damage. His health is 0. Now, I didn't really keep count of this because earlier on in the game, whenever there are weaker opponents in terms of their defense and mobility, I knew that we would be done within the amount of tilts. However, that was 2 more attacks in which I landed, so I shattered 2 more lances. So I'm back down to 3 lances. So technically the number I started off with, so I gained none and I lose none because I got 3 free lances at the beginning of the round. However, now you can see in the bottom, I have a little thing down here that says gold if you win is 7 gold. So I won 7 gold. So 5 plus 7 is 12, and I can put that gold to good use. Now, there's also a thing that says gold if lose, which is 3 gold, and that's basically there if you run out of lances fully, and you can only rely on the 3 lances you gained at the beginning, and you cannot win. So sometimes it might get bad, in which you just have to almost forfeit your game, more or less, because you can't afford lances, so you just get automatic gold if you lose. Now this isn't to say that you're just going to go up to, let's say, the strongest character in the game, which is Sir Gerald right now and just be like, alright, I forfeit, I gain 10 gold. I have nothing that says that you can't do that, but this is like an honorable thing, more or less. Just try to be honest whenever you try this, and every time you attack someone, generally try to win. Alright, so now that they're done, I'm just going to put that back up to 15, because you can reuse this guy if you want. However, my stats are always going to be like this, obviously, until they upgrade. So, I got 1 win, so we can have a dual win. So I attacked the guy in a duel, so I get 1 win. And so this is just a way of like keeping track of, one, how many duels you win. I can get rid of this lance breaking. I can keep track of how many wins I have before I get to level up. So I need another 2 wins before I can level up one of my stats. And yeah. So we have 2 other different types. We have tournament wins and multiplayer wins. Before we look into that, let's go to the shop and see what that 12 gold can buy us. Alright, I'm going to pull out my shop, and let's look. So, since my guy took 1 shot in the last round, the durability on my armor went down to 4. Also, after each round, then your health restores. I forgot to mention that. It's like you rest up and you're all fine. However, the durability on your armor does go down. So this might be bad, let's say, because whenever your durability is done, so let's say I take 4 more shots, I don't have that set of leather armor anymore, and I will have 0 defense. So you really want to make sure that your durability is up so that it doesn't break. This makes me think. I'm thinking, so if you look at the shop, we have chainmail, which gives me 3 defense, it's 10 gold, so I can afford it, and it gives me 10 durability. So that's probably a good investment. I can get a shield, we'll talk about that in a little bit, and a horse. I could buy another sumpter horse, except there's no point since horses you see have no durability. There's no way to really get rid of them, so once you have a horse, you're always going to have it. So the next horse is 35 gold, so I can't really afford that. So basically, I am either left in buying an extra lance set, which gives me 3 lances, or some better armor. I think I'm going to go with the armor, since I still have 3 lances, and last time I only used 3 lances, and I was able to beat him with the 3 free ones I got, so I feel like I'll be confident in battling again. So I'm just going to buy the chainmail. So I had studded leather, 4 out of 5 durability. Now, I'm not going to sell this or put this anywhere, I'm actually going to put it in my bag. So I'm just going to abbreviate it to SL, and 4 out of 5, so I remember the durability. So this is going to be in my bag, so I can have my armor. Now, what this means is that during a battle, so let's say, well, I'm going to put this right in my chainmail now. Let's say during a battle, whenever you are fighting and the durability on your armor goes to 0. Well, your next round is you're still going to have no armor right here. So that is 1 round where you can potentially risk losing a lot of health. However, the round after that, so the tilt after that, then you can equip a spare piece of armor from your bag. So, say we went back to Mountain Bandit, my chainmail completely broke, then we would roll again, and if he attacked me, he'd do basically full damage on me with what he rolled, because I would have no armor. And if I'm alive, then I can equip my other armor from my bag back onto me and gain that 2 defense. So since I have chainmail gives you 3 defense, I can boost this up to 3. And that took 10 gold, so now I'm only going to be down to 2. And I'm basically better. I can fight again with better armor, better defense, so it'll be way easier. Let's say if I take on a mountain bandit. Of my set, my next guy, who's probably the weakest of the set, is a Lesser Knight of the Sacred Sun. However, I still think that this might be a little hard to fight him. I'm going to see if I can get a shield first. So I'll work on it and get back with you whenever I'm done. Alright, so I technically just got defeated in battle. It was just 2 unlucky rolls, in which my opponent got 6 both times. So I take the durability on my chainmail. However, my health is going to be restored to full, and I'm going to gain the gold from losing. So I gained 3 gold from losing. So now I have 5. Alright, I'm going to continue grinding. Alright, so I beat up this mounted bandit quite a few times that I've accumulated 20 gold, and now I finally got my 3rd duel win. So now I get to spec into something. Now, I'm thinking that I want to go, I'm gonna go with mobility, because I think that since, you know, the whole point is because you want to be able to roll higher than your opponent on the first one so you can actually do damage, I feel like it's probably better to do that. You can change the stats of how things are in your playthrough if you want, just because sometimes it might be a little bit too hard and unbalanced. So, however, I'm just going to keep it like this. So, I have my stats. I'm going to say goodbye to the mounted bandit right now, go into the shop area, and I'm going to look at this. So I got 20 gold. I could get the next set of armor for 10, which probably would be the best choice. However, I want to buy a... Let's go with a wooden shield. Also, I only have 2 lances because that last battle took me 4 shots. So, I want to buy a wooden shield, and I'll buy an extra lance set. So you know what, I'm just going to buy extra lances anyway. So that's going to be 5, 5, and 10, so I'm going to have 10 gold left. And I'm going to have a wood shield, and that gives me a durability of 1. So your shields only give you 1 durability. They don't increase your defense, however they do something different in the battle, which is gives you a big advantage. Alright, and what was the other thing I bought? Lances. So instead of 2 plus 3 is going to be 5. I'm going to have 5, and so whenever I start the next battle, then I can have 8. So I think that I am ready enough to probably go on to the next guy, which is a Knight of the Sacred Sun. Or Lesser Knight, I should say. So he has a... Ooh. He has a very high mobility. So this one might be really hard. So this is probably going to be the last regular battle that I will show. And we'll see how this one goes. This one might be pretty hard. Alright, so he completely wiped me out basically right there. So obviously I probably have to train with more mounted bandits, or I can make my own other guy who is probably maybe a little bit better than a mounted bandit, but not as good as this lesser knight. So probably 1 less mobility, maybe 1 less defense as well. Would probably be a fair balanced guy. Anyways, I still would have gained 5 gold from that. However, I took 2 giant shots. Oh wait, actually, speaking of taking 2 giant shots, the first one didn't count. So I've only 6 plus 1 from the mobility is 7, or 6 plus 3. My bad. Is 9 plus 6 is 14. Wait, 15. So technically he would have just one-shotted me anyways, but that first hit wouldn't have actually affected me, because what shields do is that whenever you decide to use it, so I would have decided to use it in the first one, I just forgot about it, you basically use a shield and it does not count as hitting your armor at all, and you do not take any damage. So I wouldn't have taken any damage from that first hit, and that wooden shield would have broke. Same thing would go for him. He has a wooden shield. For enemies, no matter what, they automatically use their shield on the first time you hit them. So even if it might have been a super weak hit, they will use their shield. And they're going to keep using that shield until it has no more durability left. So you can see with our Bridge Wolf, he has an Iron Edge shield, which has 2 out of 2. So he would have used his shield twice with the 2 hits that you land on him. So it would be pretty hard to do any damage with this guy, or against that guy for the first few turns. Alright, so after just losing completely to that lesser knight, I still would have gained 5 gold, so I had 10 before, so now I have 15. My durability would be 3 on my armor. I'm thinking that we can probably try for a tournament. I'm not sure if we're gonna work out that, it's not gonna work out that well, but we can try. Basically how tournaments work, before I do that, I want to go ahead and start with my stats, or try to buy some more things. So I have 15 gold. My armor is most likely going to break, and during a tournament you cannot go to the shop between battles. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is buy another set of chainmail. So CM, and you know what, I'm actually going to equip that chainmail, so I'm going to just change that durability to 10 out of 10. I'm just going to put a 3 out of 10 down here. And so that brings me to 5 gold, and I will bring probably another lance set, so I'll have 0 gold. And technically, the 3 free lances that you start with, you do not get to keep those after a match, even if you don't get to use them. So since I never got more than 3 hits ever, then I got to keep the amount of lances that I had before. So I had 5, now I'm buying an extra set of 3, so I will have 8 lances now. And the reason why you want this is, again, because you cannot go to the shop in between tournaments. So you have to have the amount of lances that you want. So let's say the first match might take a lot of lances. Then you won't have any left for the next 2, so you'd either have to forfeit. Obviously you cannot advance to the next round unless you beat the round before. So let's say if I win the first one, then I go on to the second one. If I win the second one, I go on to the third one. If I win the first one, then I go to the second one. If I lose that one, then I only get a certain amount of prizes. Now, how prizes work for tournaments is that if you win all 3, then you get the sum total of all 3 gold. So this first one is called the Brigand Tournament, basically because they have a lot of bandits. So you would go against, the first opponent is a mounted bandit, the second opponent is another mounted bandit, and your third and final opponent is your Bridge Wolf. So if you win against all 3, then you get the sum of the golds if you win for all 3 of them, so 7 plus 7 plus 15. So basically that's 30 or whatever, it's 29. And then you're also going to multiply that by your bet multiplier. Now, your bet multiplier is something that you do before the tournament. It does not change, or you can only bet before the tournament. So, your bet risk is 10 gold, so you can lay down 10 gold before the tournament to see if you want to win. Then you don't lose 10 gold, you only gain whatever. However, if you lose the tournament, then you lose that 10 gold and you only get the rewards from whatever the other rewards are. So again, if you win all 3, you get the sum of all of these 3 times your bet multiplier if you bought it. So that's 1.5 times, so that's basically another 15 gold, more or less. And all these things, you can use a calculator, you're going to round up. So even if it's like a 0.1 or a 0.2, you get to round up, just to be generous for you. And then you also get your an extra tournament winnings bonus, so which is going to be 10 gold. So even if you didn't bet, then you can still win 10 extra gold along with all of the gold that you gain from these guys. So tournaments are basically ways of just making some profit, and you can gamble a little bit to see if you can make a lot of profit. I'm not pretty sure that I will actually continue on to a tournament right now. I might still play, and I might make another video perhaps whenever I'm actually stronger after working on this. However, now we can actually look at multiplayer wins. So what does that mean? Basically, you can print out 2 of these character sheets and you can go against one of your friends. So after both of you guys grind up some of these preset characters perhaps, then you can have a certain amount of dual wins or whatever. You can, let's say like both of you guys get 10 dual wins, and then you can battle each other and see who wins from that. So again, it would be in the same fashion, you against another friend or family member, and whoever wins obviously wins, and they get a multiplayer win from here. Your multiplayer wins do not count for your stat increases though. It's just basically a way to see who's stronger, who has the better character at that time. So it would be a little unfair if somebody had a very powerful character and they went against a weak character and they got wins to level up. So only dual wins and tournament wins count for that. Obviously, since tournaments are 3 characters that you have to beat, if you win a tournament, then you automatically get a free skill point. Yeah. So, this is pretty much going to wrap it up for this one right now. I have all of these characters. We can keep on going through them, and of course, as I advance in level, then I can battle more of these guys. Please tell me if you want to look more at those battles. However, wait a second. I have more. What is this? So behind the tournament, so this was my shop and tournaments, and now this is my little jousting area, but what's this? Huh? Looks like there's like written language everywhere. Let's see. There is a man. No one knows where he came from other than he attended the Tournament de la Mancha and received the victor prize. From there, he continued his journey around all of Europe, performing magnificent feats of power, skill, and finesse in jousting. Many challenged him. Few remained seated after the first hilt, and even less still sat on their mount through the entire bout. He had no name. The commoners of the land just called him Lancer. Huh. So this guy, his name's Lancer. He seemed pretty good. Alright, let's keep going. Many common folk have heard of this man and eagerly wait for him to visit their lands to challenge the knights and lords of their fiefdoms. Some, however, saw the Lancer's arrival as a threat. Our particular lord, who ruled by fear and force, worried for his power. With the peasantry close to rebellion due to a high tax on the harvest, they would attempt to overthrow him when a leader, such as the Lancer, could show them that the knights and men-at-arms could be defeated in combat. If he sent the Lancer away, his people would know that he was afraid. So obviously these are like the people who really expect him, and that must be the bad lord who's looking down on him. He's kind of in a pickle, I guess. Let's keep going. So the lord sent for one of his knights, gave him supplies, and told him to wait for the Lancer at the border pass, at which he would escort him to the castle, only after a short rest and a friendly duel. The knight did what he was told and met the Lancer. He gave him wine and cheese and then challenged him. The Lancer accepted. It was one of the few duels the Lancer had lost. Each tilt, the Lancer grew weaker, and on the final tilt he fell from his horse. As his vision faded, he looked at the wine glass, now fallen over, spilling its poison contents onto the dry, cracked earth. Oh man, that sounds betrayal. And now, ladies and gentlemen, looks like we have the Grand Joust story mode made by the Flamespot. Yes, indeed, this is going to be a story. This is actually planning on my first actual PCG that I will have written out. It's on its way to be, well, I'm currently working on it, and hopefully I'll have it done at some point. The reason why I had this video actually to start with is to show you all the stats of everything and how this game would actually run, because it's going to be very similar to just the gameplay you just watched, however with a story mode to it. So if you're pretty excited for that, just please comment to see if you actually want to know more about this Lancer Knight who was poisoned and deceived and was tricked. And we'll try to see and try to solve his story and who he becomes. Alright, this is the Flamespot. signing out.